My mentality is never too late. Even for us, we were 4 days before. I feel like just how easy it is in the system, it's given me the confidence to explain how easy it is and what that process looks like. When people hear build a campaign, think of how long it can take. So I think the ease of doing that and the segmentation of who you can speak to is something that I was able to sell to our campus partners, is we can be very, very intentional and as personalized as you want to be. And this is a system that do that.
Welcome to the EverTrue Innovators podcast, where we meet the innovative voices behind the ideas moving fundraising forward.
All right. Well, Keith, when their print vendor failed them, ETSU didn't panic. They pivoted.
That's right, to a video from their university president wearing what? A custom golden blazer. And the results, 60% open rate, and they ended up saving the entire campaign.
Well, let's get into it with the winners of the Timely Engagement Award, East Tennessee State University.
Desmond, congratulations, and thank you very much for joining us for the interview.
I appreciate it. This is perfect timing.
We have a warm-up question that we ask everybody, and that question is, what is one piece of conventional wisdom about stewardship or fundraising that you secretly disagree with?
So a lot of people usually just say a thank you is enough, but I'm on the realm of, you can never say thank you enough. I feel like if I tell you thank you 10 times in a day, I don't know if you would get annoyed or not. Obviously, we're not doing that, but just strategically saying thank you is something we've found success in using ThankView, even though all of them aren't thank yous, right? Some of them are just different touch points. I had a donor say, I got a ThankView. It was just an update. So a lot of people are connecting it in that way. That sparked some other ideas for me too, on how do we continue to do that and segment that out.
It's nice to know that even when it's an update or just another touch point, it still has a sense of gratitude, maybe because that's how you started, or that's just sort of the culture that you've been able to express in these videos. I think that's what they're looking for, is just to feel connected consistently. So kudos. I like your way of thinking too.
I appreciate it. Guys, keep hyping me up. I need all the positive vibes. Send them all, please.
So there's a last minute issue with the printed mailing that was originally going out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you pivoted to using personalized video with ThankView for that. Can you walk us through what happened, how you made the decision to pivot, and what that looked like as it was going on?
So the President's Circle tailgate is something that we do every year, and it's an invite to the tailgate before the football games where you get to interact with other donors and specifically the president. We've always traditionally done a letter. I was just so locked in on sending a letter. It comes to a week before and our vendor says they weren't going to be able to send the letter. So we were really trying to figure out, what are we going to do? Do we just send through our old email system, the general email that we would complement the letter with anyway? For some reason in that meeting, I was like, I think we need to send a thank you because that makes more sense. It's high level, it's stewardship, it's engagement. ThankView was able to cover all of that in one. I had a university leadership meeting with our marketing department explaining how they could utilize ThankView and the efficiency of it and how fast we could get those messages out to put a name to the face. In our community, this is completely new for us. This is how easy it can be. That's how I pitched it to university leadership. And even in that meeting, we made the decision to do that video for our President's Circle tailgate. I just like, hey, this is how easy it is. This is what we can do. This is the metrics that we could see because of a video. Thankfully, they bought in. When we were looking at what our President's Circle members weren't getting, we want them to be more engaged with the president outside of just the tailgate. Hearing from the president directly instead of hearing from me will be more impactful to hear from him and get an invite from him. So that was our thinking. We built that campaign, sent it on September 3rd. The first game was September 7th. So that was our window, which wasn't ideal, but we had 60% open rate. We had several donors that spoke to us about it at the tailgate. They were like, what is that envelope video thing that you guys say? So it was an opportunity for us to really talk about, hey, be on the lookout. There's going to be more of that type of engagement. Most of our donors, they did appreciate that. They were curious. When they got more videos in the year, it made sense to them. That timeline and shift from the letter to the video really was just me falling back on everything that was told to me of why you should use ThankView. And it just kind of clicked for me, which was like, yeah, this is what we should use it for. And that is totally new for us at ETSU. It's new for our campus and it's new for our donors, but the response that we're getting lets us know that it's the right direction that we should be going. Just looking back, we had 62.3% open rate, but the average age was 65 plus. So we were looking at different demographics and who this would speak to the most. And it proved us wrong. It was cool for us to report that back to our leadership and show we are engaging a set of donors that we weren't even thinking about, how we continue that and engage an even wider group of donors with these type of videos and presentations. Great pivot. I'll credit Jen for giving me that info and the confidence to do it. It was a cool moment.
So taking into account the 60% open rate, the fact that a lot of the recipients were 65 plus and were still engaging, what do you think made this format so effective for that audience?
Yeah, the personalization for sure. Just seeing an envelope with their name and the branding. And we also had information about the tailgate. Really, it was, usually you don't want to put too much information in something, but we really put a lot of information because we were just so far behind. It really ended up working out for us. For the donors that I spoke to, they did appreciate having everything in one place. And they could go back to that and be able to say that they're coming, the food they want, et cetera. They could do that in one place and hear from the president. That was something we have never been able to do in a centralized location. For the 65 plus donors, instead of going to different avenues and different media channels, it was all there. The capability of ThankView to embed links in those different areas that we were pointing to was important for us too. And something that we could track. We weren't able to do that before. So that was nice.
You've touched on this already about some of the reactions or replies that stood out to you and some of those being in person at the event, or any additional ones that stood out that you remember, or things that made you feel like this was a really good call that we pivoted into it this way, in addition to all of those amazing stats?
There were some conversations, not directly to me, but to some other colleagues as well, of really just hearing from the president. In that way was a big deal to a lot of people. You all been in annual giving, you get it. We'll send a letter. It's signed by the president.
Yeah.
That's a little different, but hearing a video and that personalized message, a lot of our donors appreciate it. And when you look at a president circle, $1,000 and up, for us, that's a big deal. A lot of our donors need more of that attention. We're in the game of people wanting more information. So getting that direct message from the president was definitely helpful. I had a younger donor say that video was cool. That was their first video from Dr. Nolan. The best response I received was the envelope, the name, and how we built that out through the system caught a lot of people's attention. That made it feel like it's kind of cool. It's not mail, but it is mail. If you're used to traditional mail, here's a better way of doing it. I think that was the coolest part, hearing people say, I like this better than the letter. So it feels like it, but more information. So I think that we're probably never going to do a letter again due to the results that we were able to see. And it saves us money, looking at our budget and seeing how we can be more cost effective and efficient in everything we're doing. ThankView has really saved us money too, because especially holiday cards and different things we have done in the past, 50,000 more people got a holiday message this year. That's huge for us because we would only segment out certain levels getting holiday cards. This year, everyone got a holiday video. So we've been saving money, but also we're reaching more people, which for us is huge. So I think when other schools are thinking about it, you can save money, but also reach a larger audience strategically and segment in a way that can be more impactful than a physical card or letter. So we're building our plan for next year. And I've already taken out 4 pieces of mail that we're going to replace with ThankView. My goal is to get to 6, but right now we're at 4. The percentage of what we're doing from 150,000 letters will be a certain amount of ThankViews. We can just track in a different way, which I'm excited to see. We can continue to pitch that to leadership and be like, hey, this is working. How can we pivot and continue to do that?
Can I ask what the other sends are that you're definitely pivoting to video?
Our gold group grads of the last decade, they don't care about mail anyway, to be honest. So for them to get that engagement through ThankView is going to be huge for us. Our young alumni society that we're building and the different segments we're doing, we sent something during Day of Giving. This year, instead of sending a letter, which usually goes to their parents' house, we're definitely going to do the holiday cards again. We might still do letters, but I think to complement that has been something that we've tested already, that we've seen good results on. We did ThankView invite for the last 10 years of grads to our basketball tournament. They had a pretty good response. That was our first test to be like, yeah, we're not sending them mail anymore. All we needed to see was just some good results. We've got a very good response from ThankViews in that last 10-year grad category. We pretty much have an engagement plan for 250, 500, 500, 750, 750 to 1,000. Through their engagement with us, they're going to get a different level of a ThankView. So there's one from our assistant director, one from myself, one from the VP, and one from the president. If you're a young alum giving $1,000, you get invited to the president's circle tailgate, and you're getting a message directly from the president. So we're looking at it from that perspective, and ThankView is the easiest way for us to do that. So
Yeah.
we're excited to see what we can do with it.
From the design side, do the gold alums know that they're gold alums? Do you refer to them as the gold alums?
We're having our week of giving this year, and whenever they get their gold cord, they're a donor in gold, but then after graduation, everyone that graduated is automatically in it. Our gold cord circle members, they're grandfathered in at a different level. We're presenting to them, hey, you get a gold cord, you're in gold. So they'll know this year, but everyone before has no idea what we're doing. So that's the fun part for us. We're about to flood them with emails explaining what we're doing, some paint and sips, different things we're working on for them to be involved in our community and with recent grads in the area. My team's working on some cool content that's funny and hopefully get them engaged. Instead of me just talking, they're actually doing some cool stuff.
I want to do a paint and sip. There's a paint and sip place nearby.
I've never done one either. Apparently gold alums love paint and sips. And 2 free drink tickets.
I was going to say crafts and alcohol.
Yeah.
That's the key. Part of this, again, is idea sharing with other institutions. So
Yes.
just what advice would you have for another institution who wants to try something new, wants to try using ThankView, wants to pivot from print to digital, like any institution who may be looking to do something similar? What's your advice for them?
Yeah. My mentality has been it's never too late. Even for us, we were 4 days before. Felt like it was too late, but still it never is too late. And I feel like just how easy it is in the system, I will commend you all for that. It's given me the confidence to explain how easy it is and what that process looks like. When people hear build a campaign, think of just general campaigns of how long it can take. So I think the ease of doing that and the segmentation of who you can speak to is something that I was able to sell to our campus partners. Is we can be very, very intentional and as personalized as you want to be. And this is a system to do that. And we've only done mail, and that's as personal as we've ever done. We've been doing that for decades. So it's never too late to change, especially where we're at now in annual giving and seeing a lot of schools like us where we have 100,000 living alums and only 2 people on our annual giving team. So for us, how do we try to strategically and effectively reach 100,000 plus alums? When you think of it from that scope, it only makes sense. See the results, the metrics. We have never had metrics like that before through our other vendors. So to be able to see the open rate, how long they watched the video, when they started the video, what city they're in, their age, if it was on a desktop, if it was on a cell phone, that is something that we have never been able to explain to other units on our campus. And they can think about different ways that they can engage. So I think if you understand how easy it is to use ThankView, the impact and the scope of how big it can be, that is where I was sold. I love the idea from the beginning. I just didn't realize how we could use this from the top down. How can we use this from a president down to a student? And then that can easily flow back and forth throughout the entire year. And we've been able to do that in a pretty good way. For schools out there, I think of it that way. It's never too late. And it's easier than you think to pivot from your traditional mailers that you're doing every single year.
What advice would you give to people in your position that want to encourage other departments to utilize ThankView and give them the courage, give them the confidence to be able to dive in there themselves?
I think a lot of people want data. They want metrics. Everything that ThankView has provided for us that has worked well in case studies from other institutions was very helpful to me because we didn't have that data when we first started. But now that we have that, I can go on campus or show, like I can see exactly what you're doing, the metrics that you have, and this is where we can improve just from using ThankView. So just from that aspect of data and going to your med school, your college of education, and they're trying to figure out how do they talk with different segments to raise money for this capital campaign. I think there's different ways that ThankView can show you all of that to be a little bit more strategic. So from us, it's been data-driven decisions, but also the ease. A lot of smaller schools don't have the budget to send out 80,000 letters. So then you have to segment and micro segment to figure out who's going to get this high level letter. But when you have ThankView, everyone can get a high level video and even more information. So I look at it from that standpoint. How can you speak to all of these different segments? And ThankView gives you that opportunity to do that while making all of those segments feel like they're one in a way, right? So it's like, wow, I got a high level video from the president or the VP or the provost or the dean of the med school. I don't think they get that same feeling from physical mail. So that's been my outlook on it. Provide the data, give them a different way of thinking about how it's going to make the donor feel. We're very donor centric. So just thinking about the emotion behind that of seeing a face, hearing a voice, and to be able to keep that and go back to them is another thing I try to explain to our campus partners as well.
I appreciate that. And I do think a lot of folks that are listening are going to glean a lot from that and use some of that strategy themselves too. The last question I had is really focused on the president that was in the video. Where does one find a yellow blazer such as the one he was wearing?
Custom made. I think everything he has to be custom made. He has the ETSU pants, ETSU shoes. He's definitely one of the best dressed presidents in the United States. So don't give that. He's swaggy. It's different and people love it. So I think it's pretty cool to see him always be like that. Hey, I'm a t-shirt and a blazer guy, you know.
He's got to share his tailor. That could be next.
Yeah, seriously. You should see his pants. They're pretty sweet.
I need to know more. Is it like logo? Is it colors? What makes them ETSU pants specifically?
So I think he has several pairs, but I know he has a navy pair and he has a pair of shoes that are school colors. Our yellow is very hard to find. For him, he's always matching and has a perfect color. For me, it's just whatever yellow Macy's is offering, that's ETSU yellow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we always have donors talk about what he wears. And I think someone actually said that about the video. I just love that yellow blazer he wears.
Yeah, the blazer and the bow
took
tie.
away from it.
Yeah.
It's making the impression. Why not?
Love it. Well, we were impressed.
Well, now he knows he's got to do it every year, so he's ready for it. We're actually thinking about switching it up next year. We might make it a more relaxed president video. We might do something more fun for donors to see him in a different light so people can know that he's just a normal person. That's the connection they're trying to make.
I feel like you could film if, again, this was for something very specific that you were doing this time, but thinking about the tailgating event, like having sort of a, oh, hey, didn't see you there, sort of like a moment.
Someone brought this up in a meeting last year and we didn't have the right equipment. It was just too loud. There's just too much background noise, but we did think about that. And it's a fantastic idea for the people who didn't come, for them to see what they're missing out on and get some of those donor testimonials that we can put in ThankView and send out as well to complement some of those emails we send. We've looked into it. We just got to figure out how we would do that during the chaos of a true tailgate. The band and the cheerleaders come through there. It's just boat chaos.
Everyone on TikTok these days just takes this is a paperclip, not a mic, but they just take their little mics and just kind of right up to the face.
We actually bought one. It's funny. We bought ones for that. Like we've done so much different. ThankView has been a lot of people can't even believe on our campus that we have ThankView, because I'm not saying that we were resistant to change, but I think a lot of people were just comfortable with what we were doing. When I stepped into this role a year ago, this was part of that, figuring out how can we push the boundaries a little bit with our donors, and just looking at the data and the gaps showed some things to us, but also the metrics in ThankView is showing some other things as well. So just from the mic and the tailgate and all the different things we're doing, ThankView has been part of us really being forward thinking. I feel like it is evolving, and even just the AI component as well. It makes it so easy for us. I'm using it and I have no shame of using it as a springboard and figuring out good taglines and social media posts. And ThankView alone, our goal is to send about 100,000 thank yous during Week of Giving to 100,000 donors and friends. Right now, I'm in the process of segmenting all of those out. And a lot of inspiration that I've gotten is from just throwing it in the AI component within the system, like speak to a gold member, speak to a President Circle member, speak to someone who gave through DAF Fund, et cetera. So that's been pretty cool. So I think for anyone who has administration or be on a campus that hasn't had change recently, I feel like this is an easy way to implement that. It really can just fit in so easily. The results will show you the impact of that shift. I explained to our team what ThankView was, and then they started getting them for their birthday, and then they started getting them for other stuff. They're like, oh, wow, this is cool. Like, I didn't know really it wasn't making sense. So that was on me for not making it make more sense. But even our own campus partners, I want our own faculty and staff to get ThankView so they know and they want to use it for birthdays and everything. They're getting it too, including your faculty and staff, and thank yous and birthdays and donor anniversaries. They can really see what the platform could do for their own unit. We've had good feedback of some of our partners asking, what is that? I got that birthday video. Is this something that we could use in our office? So that's been neat as well.
I'm really happy that it's worked out so well for you and you've embraced it in such a great way.
Yeah, I heard about ThankView 2 years ago when I was at Pitt. We used it at Pitt. It might have been the CEO that presented to us. That's where this conversation started for us. I brought it back here at ETSU. And the reality was this. I started last February. I saw my budget and all the mail we were sending. I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, this is so much mail that really explored to see results for mail. And for us, we had so many different issues that we were going through, but we were able to partner with EverTrue. Out of the 8 issues that I identified, 4 of those were answered through our partnership with EverTrue. We were able to get ThankView, PledgeMob, Otter, and FundDriver. Our team is so small. We have small teams like ETSU, and we're trying to be cost effective and reach as many people. And now ThankView has been huge for our office, and just to complement that with PledgeMob. So like the PledgeMob piece of it, obviously we're not going to have mailing issues anymore, thankfully, because that was our issue, was our vendor. Right. ThankView opened the door to PledgeMob, which was pretty cool. And then the endowment reports were mail that opened up the door for Otter. It's like, ThankView's working so well, let's do Otter. For small units like us, it truly was impactful to see how you all not only offer so many different things, but the way that you can find that information is presented. You can see data and results. From a leadership perspective, that's huge. A lot of other vendors don't do it in that way. They're not giving enough data. It's like cookie cutter data. For you all, that's awesome to see. And it makes it easier for someone in my position to sell that to a vice president of advancement. So that was cool.
Having been in a similar position, just to hear that we're fulfilling the mission is great. So thank you for sharing all of that.
I'm getting emails right now from students doing their week of giving videos for stewardship. We're rolling.
The iteration of this is so that we can create a community for everyone to idea share, because I think that's one of the best parts of working in advancement. Thank you for being willing to hop on with us and talk about the work you're doing.
Just ending on such a good vibe of positivity. Just this interview alone is going to get a lot of folks excited, maybe change some minds about what they need to do, especially when they think if a message is coming from the president of the university, or if it's like dean. I think a lot of folks kind of put pressure on themselves to do things in a traditional way, at least an untraditional delivery method, and your interest in potentially making the videos even a little more fun and casual, which is great. And I do think will resonate really well. So I do hope that inspires more people. So I want to thank you. I want to congratulate you and really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, it was awesome talking to y'all. Thank you again for the award and the trophy. I appreciate all of